Right, I'm going to begin by just asking if there'd been much dialogue over the last kind of 15 years to revisit this character, and if so, why is now the right time?
Well, there has been, and it was most vocal right after I returned to the Dom Toretto character. So after the success of Fast and Furious in 2009, a lot of people on Facebook were saying, well, if you could do it with Dom Toretto, do it with Xander Cage. And then it was just a matter of finding a slot, really, to do it. Right now, last year was just the perfect year to return to a character that I could laugh and smile again. And I guess I didn't realize how many films I had done where I wasn't just playing this kind of unapologetically playful character. And so it really became the perfect time to do it.
So is it quite easy to get back into his head and embody this character again after such a long period? I mean, do you need like a trigger, a certain costume? Or, I mean, how did you just go, right, I'm him again?
Oh, right. Okay. Well, I'll tell you, one of the fun things about playing this character is all the training that you do for the stunts. And that starts, obviously, long before you do the movie. That was just so much fun for me. It had been a long time since I played this extreme sports character, and it was crazy because I remember my sister, who's one of the producers on the movie, after about a week or two of filming, she comes in my trailer and says, wow, this character is so you. You're having so much fun.
And, I mean, because Xander Cage, he's the Don. I mean, men want to be him and women want to be with him. You must have a bit of a swagger offset. When you're playing a role like that, you must just walk around just like, yeah.
It's a lot of swag. Yeah. That's so funny. That was my key word with DJ Caruso, the director. He's like, swag, 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 swag. It's like, yeah, I'll give it to you in spades.
Yeah. Especially that coat. They must let you keep that coat.
That coat was very swag. The coat had a lot of swag on it. And it was just fun to kind of... I hadn't realized how impactful the coat was until I had a meeting with Mark Zuckerberg, and he said, talked about how much he loved that coat. So we made it a point to bring it back into this movie.
I mean, you do sort of play characters in franchises. Obviously, not only the Fast series, but this, and obviously there's Groot as well. And I think Riddick. I mean, what's the appeal in that kind of approach? I sort of liken it in some ways, very different type of movies. But Mike Myers had a kind of similar thing where he would be Austin Powers, Wayne's World, Shrek, sort of revisiting characters a lot. Is that something that just really appeals to you as an actor?
Well, I grew up in an artist housing, and my father was a theater director, and so at a very young age, we would have thespians over for dinner, and they'd all be kind of discussing the various approaches to becoming a character and what have you. And one of the things that they never discussed was what it would be like to return to a character or to sustain a character over decades, where you're both evolving off screen and you're evolving on screen, and what complexities that may pose. And that felt like a good challenge for me. I also have to say that, being a kid who spent so much of his life rolling 20-sided die and playing Dungeons & Dragons affected the way I approached work. Dungeons & Dragons, if nothing else, was a game where it wasn't like a traditional board game. You engaged in a campaign that lasted months and sometimes years. And kind of taking that approach to filmmaking is what I guess influenced me or encouraged me to take an episodic approach to filmmaking. Yeah.
Because, I mean, the Fast franchise is emblematic of that. I mean, obviously 8 is coming out soon, and I think 9 and 10 are going to have been announced as well. I mean, this is quite remarkable. I mean, could you ever foresee that when you first started making these movies? Did you ever imagine it could quite have the longevity that it's got?
No, in fact, quite the opposite. The first Fast and Furious came out in 2001, and any references of sequels prior to that were never anything I wanted to aspire to. I always felt like if I sequelized a film, I diminished the chances of that film being a classic. Like if Rebel Without a Cause had a sequel, it wouldn't have been the classic that it was. And so my big fear at that time was, I wanted the films that I did to be classics. So I didn't want to sequelize them. And then I was And then when the studio came to me and asked me to kind of spearhead the direction of the saga, I was able to take more of a Francis Ford Coppola approach to it and not do what they had done traditionally in Hollywood, which was slap something together, put the logo on, put the brand on, and, expect diminishing returns and try to make as much money as they could to capitalize. And now, with Fast and Furious and with any other franchise, the evolution of the franchise, or the continuation of the story, is what became so enticing to me.
Brilliant. Well, thanks so much for your time today.
Oh,
much
my
appreciated.
pleasure.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey, you guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yeah.
Nice.
Hey!